Are we dreaming? Insane. What kind of joke is this? Well, Dr. Nanjo! I'll go call Dr. Nanjo. Goda. This is enough. Genji, who had been calm and silent through the whole thing, finally spoke. And those were the most reasonable words spoken. If he called Nanjo here, then what? Not only was there no arm to take the pulse of, there wasn't even a forehead to feel the heat of. Like the last unmelted snow greeting the warm sun of spring, Kanon's form, there was no longer even a trace. His form had sparkled with a spray of gold and vanished completely. Where did he go? Where's Yoshia-kun? Mi spiace Jessica, non ha vinto lui. So long. Lady. No. Jessica. No one's eyes can see us any longer. That means that we are no longer in their world. However, we are right here. You're right. We are here. For us, a body is nothing more than a cage made of flesh. There's no need to be sad. But I do feel sad for her. Jessica-san. This is all my sin. This is why furniture isn't supposed to love. Then what will you do now? Though I have lost my form, though I can no longer talk to her, and even though if Jessica ever talks to me, I can do nothing except nod behind her back. I will be by her side. I think that's wonderful. What will you do? I want to save Butler-san from a locked room. A locked room? After looking a bit taken aback, Kanon laughed gently. Beato, who hadn't expected to be laughed at, looked a little sour. Why are you laughing? This is very important to me. But it's a locked room. That's only a problem for humans who have bodies. We have already been released from our cage of flesh. How could a locked room hinder us? Are you sure about that? I mean, there's a chain lock and duct tape seals and red roof. I see. So, you weren't from this world of pieces, but a being from a higher level world. That's probably why your limitations are different from ours. Oh well. Kanon stretched. It looked as though he was about to head out somewhere. Seeing as you're a fellow loser, okay, I'll go for you. I'll go to the guest room in the mansion and let Butler-sama out. Set the chain behind me and hide in the closet in his place. How about that? I am glad for the sentiment, but even if you wanted to leave the cousin's room, Erika-san's seals mean... Unlike the next room over, the cousin's room where Kanon was had been guaranteed to be a complete locked room, even counting the windows. Not only did he have no way to save Butler, but he couldn't even escape himself. In that case, use your magic to give me power. My magic? Yeah. Use your magic on me. Wait, I don't even know how. Aren't you Beatrice, the Golden Witch? I am a witch, but I don't even know about locked room tricks, much less magic. Good grief. Okay, listen up, Beatrice. I'll only tell you this once. This is what a witch is. What a witch is? A witch is not the one who solves puzzles. Not the one who solves puzzles? Yeah, that's right. If you are a witch, why are you clutching at your head because of someone else's puzzles? That's not a witch's job, right? Then what is a witch's job? The Golden Witch I know used insane magic to create puzzles that baffled everyone and sneered at their confusion. Create a horrible riddle that no one can get, spin everyone around and badmouth them. You aren't supposed to clutch your head agonizing over your opponent's puzzles. That's their job. Agonizing is my opponent's job? Don't worry about how to get Ushirama Butler out of the locked room. A room locked by a chain? What a joke. You need to create a much more spectacular ultimate locked room. And make it so that they're the ones agonizing. I'll even lend you a hand. I'm not the one who agonizes. That's for them to do. It's about time they recall the true terror of Beatrice, the endless witch, the one who can create endless locked room tricks of the most horrific kind. Tricks that can make even the demons of hell prostrate themselves in shock. A locked room even more horrific than Butler's sons. We've already gotten our hands on one, haven't we? Horrific locked room? In the back of Beato's mind, images she remembered began to flit by, one after another. The layout of the mansion, the guest house, the rose garden. Trick, mistake, mislead, taunt, trap, laugh together. Do you know about this trick? It was in a book I read once. Beato's eyes opened wider and wider. Countless lights circled around her, swallowing her up. And one more thing. What? There's no way for the Witch of Locked Rooms to talk. No, that's no way for the Witch of Locked Rooms to talk. Then you think I should... Go for whatever. Madonna. The marriage ceremony ended without any problems, and the reception was held inside the cathedral. As the goat demons partied raucously, the landlord could be seen leaning against a pillar, trying to escape from the noise. Then Gertrude appeared and whispered some kind of report to her. Is that true? For your attention, Assistant Inquisitor Cornelia is currently heading towards the scene. I suggest that Lady Erika be contacted as well. Understood. I will tell her. Gertrude, contact the head of ceremony security. Prepare for battle. As you wish. You bet. Apologize for interrupting your chat. I am in charge of security for this ceremony. Huh? Oh, for me? Oh, what's going on? I told you that you were going too far. Champagne Tower bowling was always a bad idea. Time for a scolding. Hey! Ben! Fine, what is it? Did I do something wrong? The reception desk has received an envelope from an unknown sender addressed to Lady Lambda Delta. I always ignore anonymous calls and letters. Just throw it away. Well, you see, this one is a little different. What the? Have you told anyone you received this? No, only the two sisters at the reception desk and I know. I've already issued a gag order. The instant she saw the envelope, Lambda Delta snatched it away and lowered her voice. Ben Castle walked away and was apparently making fun of Erika. Erika was drunk and of course, and Ben was getting that way too. If they were left alone, they'd probably forget about this. It was true that the envelope had no sender written on it. However, the seal done on it in gold leaf fulfilled the same purpose. That seal was... Lambda Delta hid behind a pillar, ripped the envelope open, took out the letter inside and read. Her eyes instantly started to glint, and she grinned like a kid who just gotten a naughty idea. What is it to be done? The sniper team is carrying red warheads. If you give your permission, I will give the order to load them. What are you talking about? Do you realize how important these guests are? If a stray bullet hits one of these attendees, all of the Siesta sisters will be sent straight from the factory to the guillotine for the next 10 years. Understood, ma'am. We will intercept with regular warheads. Shall we look out around the Seven Sisters of Purgatory? Why would we need those? After all, the Seven Stakes have butlers, and now Erika's furniture. Why would we post lookouts around our allies? Just make sure security is nice and tight. Just now, we received a recommendation from Senior Assistant Inquisitor Gertrude suggesting that we make preparations for battle. Her reasons are unknown. From Gertrude? Then follow that recommendation. A part's more fun once you've livened things up. Understood, ma'am. 00 calling Siesta 17, Siesta 24, Siesta 45, issuing code R alert. Stand by, level 2. 17, copy. 38, copy. 45, understood. It would have been cooler if you just said copy. I panicked. It's alright, 45. Come over here a second. What is it? Hey, we're on duty. Okay. Hey, we're on duty. Stop playing with my ears. Your ears? Better fold them down, yeah? What do you say? You're kidding, right? That's impossible. Cornelia is heading there now. The odds of Beatrice attacking here are extremely high. I recommend suspending the reception and evacuating. What's going on, Erika? Something go wrong with the entertainment? No, my master! Please continue to enjoy the reception. Hey, someone! Let's get Lady Bencastle some more dried plum wine. The question had come too fast for Erika to hide her agitation. When Bencastle saw this, she knew that their final, late guest would soon be arriving. Lucine, I heard there's been some movement in the guest house. The guest house? Who cares about the game board now? Oh, well, they're saying that Canon-kun disappeared from the cousin's room. What? You a moron? The cousin's room is a perfect locked room, with the doors and all of the windows perfectly sealed. It's impossible for him to escape. No, I've investigated that claim as well. There's no mistake, Canon has disappeared from the cousin's room. He's probably hiding somewhere in the cousin's room, or else he's managed to trick everyone since the beginning and was never in that room to begin with. That's impossible. It's been guaranteed that everyone is in the cousin's room except the specific names Lady Erika read aloud back then. It's impossible for him to trick his way out of there. How did he get past the Jungfrau sealed barrier? No, first off, when on earth is Canon? Find him at once. At that moment, the cathedral suddenly went black. The surprised commotion of the guests filled the cathedral. She's here. 00, calling all sisters. All siesters. Code R alert. Sesta 17. Can you repair the electrical systems? Negative. Communication with the management staff had been severed. All siesters, code red. Rock and roll. Rock and roll. Understood. I mean, copy. The sniper teams in the chandeliers all released their safety at once. The entire security team down in the hall loaded their ammunition. Lady Erika, let's evacuate to the waiting room. It is dangerous here. What's dangerous? I'm the territory lord of this world. Why should I have to run away in fear? Gertrude, set up a VIP guard barrier. Call Cornelia back here at once. For your attention, this is underway. A barrier? I need to be wrapped up in one of your pitiful, pathetic barriers while I'm wearing a wedding dress? How insulting. The disturbance made even Butler groan as he sat in the next seat like a doll. Even with his soul sealed, Butler probably realized that something strange was going on. She took her time. Right, Lambda? Totally. She sure kept us waiting. What was that just now? A love letter from someone? A fan letter. From the Lambda-chan fan club. Lambda Delta played dumb and munched some popcorn. Then the lights finally turned on. It was clear that during that blackout, Beatrice snuck in somewhere nearby, possibly even inside the cathedral itself. The Whispering Goat attendees all realized it as well. Whose scheme was this, and where were they doing? Though he may have been imprudent, they were looking forward to this, and an excited chatter filled the cathedral. Looks like she came. They let you come back too? Come on, putting me in jail is meaningless. True. But Riche, Butler's locked room, the cousin's room, and even the final possibility the next room over, have all been sealed. How are you planning to save Butler? Let us suppose that Milady had found some trick axe. If so, she would inevitably have to march in here to thrust that in Lady Erika's face. But against all of these siester troops, I can't believe this many of them were hiding here. It's impossible. She'll be sewn to death. Rabbit ears could be seen poking out all around the hall. It was incredible that such a large number of them could remain hidden and unnoticed. If she can just get close enough to challenge Erika, she should be able to get herself an even fight. I see, that move. However, does Milady have that item with her? After all, she hated dealing with them and disliked it every time I prepared them for her. Dear me, she remains a troublesome one to the end. Amid the crowd, Ronove took something out and showed it. When Virgilia saw the object in his hand, she understood its meaning. True, with that, it should be possible to stop the attacks from the sister troops. Well, if it doesn't work on Erika, we're through. The problem is getting her right in front of Erika, if only for a second. The siester will probably prevent that with all they have. Leah, I'll bet you could give her the time to do that. Virgilia gave a small nod. However, the problem was the two sister troops standing at her back. Since the time she had tried to jump out in front of the procession, she had been marked constantly. It was possible with Virgilia's vast magical power to momentarily take out all of the sister troops in the cathedral. That would only gain a short bit of time, but it would be enough to confront Erika. The sister troops knew this, so they kept a close eye on Virgilia with tense faces. At that moment, the great cathedral door was blasted to bits. The fragments became bright gold butterflies which danced across the room in a beautiful blizzard of gold leaf. That golden storm slowly faded away. Then, at the entrance to that red-carpeted path to the grave, stood a calm, majestic figure. Guards, shoot to kill! Negative, conducting the identity comparison. The landlord ordered the guards to shoot the intruder right away, but Sister 00 didn't comply. Was it because she had been warned about shooting these guests, or was afraid of the consequences if she accidentally shot a drunk guest who had disguised themselves as Beatrice as some sort of prank? No, 00 was just coolly and calmly carrying out her duties. Oh, what a surprise! You know, I thought you weren't going to make it. The pair faced each other from either end of the long red carpet. Together, in between them stood several dozen Siester honor guards. It took you quite some time to get here, most honored guest. You had us all quite worried. But I'm glad you managed to make it at the reception at least. Beato laughed. That chuckle made Butler's eye quiver slightly. You... Did I keep you waiting, Furudo Erika? I'm here to celebrate. She had an overpowering and evil presence about her, strong enough to make anyone shiver. Was it still necessary for her identity to be confirmed? Who could possibly mistake this overwhelming presence? See you in hell is my favorite parting line of mine, but... Identity confirmed. It is the great Lady Beatrice. It seems we are already here. Frudo Erika! At that moment, the two sister troops standing behind Virgilia slumped over and fell to the floor. Ronove had touched their bases of their big ears from behind. It was clear that he applied some sort of magic. Oh, someone find a doctor. These girls seem to be ill. Beato, no! Just an instant before the sister troops could fire, Virgilia raised her arms to the heavens. Her magical power, which was more than enough to remind all present what her name had been at the height of her strength, became a spirit wave and exploded throughout the cathedral. The impact made the stained glass window shatter and colorful glass shards poured down everywhere. Spirit particle warfare defenses! Orion recovery! However, all of the Siesta honor guards who didn't have spirit particle defenses toppled over like dolls. The ceiling snipers who were defended were able to avoid their system going down completely, but it would take several minutes before they could recover. A span of time would be enough to reach Erika. However, Erika couldn't be defeated in just a few minutes. There was no way they could carry Butler away in that time. What should they use this precious time for? Beato dashed down the red carpeted path. She ran down the path to the grave, which was lined by Sister's troops lying there like corpses. She had called this place Hell, and in that case, running from Hell to the grave was actually going backwards. Beato's figure dashing through the corpse-ridden path truly symbolized her resurrection. Milady, take this! Got it! As she dashed, she snatched something white from Ronove's outstretched hand. There was no longer anyone blocking her path to Erika. However, that instant, a golden thread came from in front of her and rapidly sewed through the red carpet towards her like a sewing machine. We have a meddler. Reloading complete. Requesting data. Firing radar targeted. Data linked to 410. 410 was clever. She had predicted that Virgilia would go for a spirit particle attack and had folded over her ears and 45s beforehand. So they were the only ones that weren't taken out. Firing! Once again, the golden sewing thread chased after Beato, weaving like a sewing machine. It was as though an undulating golden snake was shooting after her. Impudence! How dare you interfere at a moment so invaluable for my showdown with Erika? Beato jumped sideways away from the red carpet and ran across the top of a long table covered with beautiful food. The gold snake chased after her, sewing through the pure white tablecloth like a sewing machine and scattering dishes left and right. The goat attendees ran about wildly, trying to escape. The cathedral was wrapped in pandemonium. Can't believe some of those rabbits evaded the spherical particle attack. Spirit particle attack. This is bad. With them in position, there's nothing we can do. The pair of snipers attacking from high above on the chandelier were much further away than Erika was, too far for Beato to reach. Furthermore, their position couldn't have been worse for Beato, with the entire cathedral inside their firing range. Too bad, Beatrice-sama. The trials of love are hers. 45, new magazine. This? Gap ended there the magazine. 45 always handed them over the wrong way around, so 410 was a bit confused to have one handed there the right way up. Huh? No matter how distant a position they might take, it was no problem for the elusive Gap. Gap twisted their long ears up and tricked them and tickled them with their thumbs. The Sister's greatest weapon was also their greatest weakness. The two doubled over with laughter. I've handled this too. But how many seconds do we have? The other siesters will be reactivating. On the other chandeliers, even more powerful siesters were slowly starting to move again. It would be impossible to buy any more time. Gap. Thanks, I'm in your debt. Don't forget to thank these guys too. Oh, che carino. Beato, good luck, hang in there. You don't have much time. Beato cut through the crowd of scampering goats like Moses. Her goal was straight in front of her, the place where Erika and Butler were seated. E qua ci sono Gertrude. Immaginavo. Just then a red barrier was created, blocking her path. It was the VIP guarding barrier that Gertrude had set up. She stepped forward and laid out a list of defenses to block Beato's way. For your attention, know that you will not be allowed any closer. You think a wall can... Tra l'altro qua ha detto Wara. You think a wall like that can stop me? How long until the siesta reactivate? Within 30 seconds. As the eldest of the seven sisters of Purgatory, Lucifer stood in waiting behind the bride and groom. She wanted to save Beato. If she could just distract Gertrude for a moment, that wall would disappear. However, the seven sisters were furniture. They served their territory lord, so they couldn't move to help Beato. Lanord glanced over at Lucifer. There was a coercive tint in her eyes. You are not allowed to move except by orders of your master. Who's our master? It is Erika now, idiot. No, our master is Butler-sama. True, Erika only speaks on his behalf. That's right, Onesama. Whose furniture are we? It's just too delicious. I'm gonna have a nibble. The red absolute barrier flickered for just an instant. Beelzebub's stake had pierced Gertrude's shoulder and her concentration had wavered, but it didn't break. Slowly and expressionlessly, Gertrude turned to look at Lucifer. By Zeus' orders. Know that Lady Erika has made no such order. We do have our orders. The orders of our master. How can a master who cannot speak give orders? Even without a word spoken, understanding a master's will is the job of furniture. Then it cannot be helped. Oh, povera Gertrude. The 7 stakes shot at Gertrude at once. Gertrude had chosen to take all of those direct attacks, refusing to abandon the barrier until the last moment. Though she was resilient enough to do justice in the name of Eiserne Jungfrau and took no damage at all, the attack was more than enough to make her flinch and lose control of the barrier. Un cazzo di tank Gertrude, si è tankata 7 stakes. Good work, my furniture. Beato shot through the scattered red fragments of the barrier, and she was finally right in front of the bride, her rival, Erika. However, there stood the final shield protecting Erika, the death-sentenced Glanor. You are late. Time is already up, Lady Beatrice. Siester 17, data link to all Siesters. Incoming data from Archangel satellites. Home informant, verdict model, conceptual guidance. Siester 20, reactivation complete. Siester 127, reactivation complete. Time's up. Cosa sta succedendo? Stop that! No! Lice, good luck. Mi sta facendo un coro solletico, ok? Back off, Lenore Inox. This is not your fight. I have received a red truth denying you from Lady Bencastel. I am afraid that this will become your grave. I don't know what Bencastel has allowed her to say. However, I don't need to sit around and let that longsword tell me. I'll play with you all you want later. But for now, back off. There's no time. The siesters have already finished reactivating. I'm only living on a bit of borrowed time. You will be the one to retreat. You are the pitiable actor who has chosen the wrong time to appear on stage. The Lanor Red Longsword cut a large arc of absolute denial, which headed right at the crown of Beato's head. However, in that instance, there was a tongue, and the sword was knocked slightly off course. Beato didn't let this good fortune go to waste. She slipped past the longsword, knocked Lanor aside, and finally stood right in front of Erika. This time, not a single person stood in her way. This is popcorn? Where did this come from? For your attention, urgent request from the Brial security detail. Siesta Sisters Imperial Guard, fire at the intruder immediately. Lambda ha fatto un... ha fatto... come in Jujutsu Kaisen. Vabbè. Col popcorn però. E gli ha spostato la spada. The commotion quieted. However, no one fired. Why? They could have fired if they wanted to. All of the sister troops had her fully in their sights and had removed their safeties. Of course, all of them had finished reactivating. However, they hesitated to pull the trigger. Why are you not firing? Ceremony guards, immediately! Wait, look at that! Lanore's expression grew grim. Then she quietly put her red longsword away. After all, Erika would have to make a decision. If she decided to ignore the thing in front of her, they could shoot to kill. However, if she picked it up, doing so would be unforgivable. so they couldn't pull the trigger until Erika decided. Why won't anyone shoot? Look closely. See what Beato just threw at Erika? Lambda Delta pointed, still chomping down popcorn. It was hard to see from the balcony. Beato had thrown something like a white handkerchief at Erika, and it had fallen at Erika's feet. What was that white thing? She really knows, that girl. She knows what it means to be the main character. How interesting. The thing that hit Erika in the face and fallen to the floor, the item that Beato had gotten from Ronove, was a white glove. Hitting someone with a glove like that could only mean one thing. That was... Oh, Zepar! What's this? What does it mean? This is... a request for a duel! If she picks up the glove, it means she's accepted. If she doesn't, the siesters will do the dirty work for her. There's no need to pick it up at all. She can choose not to. However, I imagine that we and all of the demons present would spread the word far and wide that she dishonorably ran away from a duel. She will be known for eternity as the coward who ran away from a duel of love. Beatrice waited firmly and composedly. If Erika just kicked it away, then that very instant, the siesters would probably all fire at once, turning her into golden embroidery. So, Erika did not have to pick it up. Figurati se Erika non accetta una sfida del genere. Erika è ipercompetitiva, vaffanculo. However, she could not afford to be afraid of picking it up. After all, she was the true victor who had defeated Butler, Locked Room, Trick and Logic. If she was the victor, she should have nothing to fear. So, if she was afraid of doing it, it would prove that she still felt a tinge of doubt about her victory. If I don't pick it up, I can kill you without getting these clothes dirty. That will probably liven up your reception. However, you will pick it up. And why is that? I have brought a wonderful wedding gift just perfect for you. You will want to know what that is. Therefore, you'll pick it up. Not interested. Goodbye. You will pick it up. For a locked room I have brought you. For the locked room I have brought you is the one to put Butler's guest room to shame. You will pick it up, for the locked room I have brought you is the one to put Butler's guest room to shame. A locked room that's simple, basic, and absolutely unsolvable, and you will want to hear about it. An absolutely unsolvable locked room? I know that you desire to accept my challenge. I know that because... Guarda che faccio. You are... a detective. Erika threw off her wedding dress as though it was a cape. Yes, though she was a bride, a piece, and a witch. Before any of those, first and foremost. I am a detective. I acknowledge you as my opponent. However, are you qualified to participate in this game? You have managed to fix the logic error, I assume. If you pick that glove up, I will prove that I have fixed it in my fight against you. Oh, the cathedral filled with noise. Erika had picked up the glove. A duel, a duel! The cathedral was wrapped in a bizarre excitement. At Erika's nod, the Lanor pushed the crowd away, leaving the pair alone. People were permitted to witness this duel, however, no one would be allowed to hinder it in any way. It's alright, Butler-san. I've already found a way to save you. How did you... I'm going to save you now. Please, endure just a little longer. Beato's resolute expression returned and she grinned boldly, looking down on Erika. Yes, there could be no doubt. This was the expression worn only by the Golden Witch, the majestic presence of the Master of Locked Rooms. Quanto l'amo. Me la voglio tatuare quella faccia. A shadow dashed through the stormy rose garden. It was incredibly light and swift. The raindrops never touched him. He made no splashes in the countless puddles. His feet were left no tracks in the mud. That rushing figure was Canon. Then he ran up the stairs to the entrance of the mansion. He did not slow down in the slightest to open the door. He ran straight at it as though trying to break through, and leapt into it. The door was shut. Even that couldn't stop Canon. He slipped through the door, fell into the entranceway, and slowly stood up. His body wasn't even wet. And as he recalled those nostalgic days spent serving the Ushiromiya family, which would never come again, he ran once more. He was heading for Butler's guest room. He ran past the servant room, through the entrance hall, and past the door to the parlor. Then the doors to the kitchen and the dining hall came into sight. All of it brings back fond memories. There was the honor and discipline of serving Kinzo directly. However, that man wasn't strict all the time. When the family was out of sight and he didn't have to preserve that air of majesty, his face would turn unbelievably childish, and he would sometimes ask me to take part in strange pranks. The master let me shoot lots of guns, didn't he? That was pretty fun. Kraus-sama was actually surprisingly kind. He must have gotten the impression the master bullied me a lot. Whenever I was the only one around, he would talk to me in a very familiar way, almost as if he was a classmate of mine. I sort of regret that I held back and never did anything but nod in return. Madame was a really strict person. Ever since a rumor spread about her being strict on female servants but soft towards the male servants, I get the feeling she viewed me as an enemy. However, she was also a woman to be pitied. On many occasions when she was alone, I saw her shoulders sagging from her burdens. There were a lot of servants, weren't there? Some lasted a short while, others longer. Genji-sama is the one person fit to be called my father. I am both grateful and resentful towards him for many things. Over time, all of those feelings mixed together, cancelled out, and left me with a neutral emotion. In that case, Kumasawa-san could probably be called my mother. She helped me out so many times. I always wanted to repay her someday, and now I've lost that chance for all time. Shannon is my big sister. Without her, I wouldn't have been able to be me. Thanks for teaching me about... Thanks for teaching me that the ocean is blue. Goda? I hate that guy. Still, when I complimented his servants too, he would sometimes turn red and tell me that there was enough for seconds. I didn't dislike that part of him. I wonder why such strong memories popped up in the short time it took me to run past the dining hall. And then my memories of Jessica. Oh. So you... oh, so you're a boy servant? How old are you? I think those were the first words she spoke to me. Come to think of it, she was probably interested in me ever since then. We really did have enough time to build up a love that could have competed with the love between George-sama and Shannon. But since I could only see the grey sea, I wasted almost all of that time. And what does she like about me? What do I like about her? I get the feeling we were never really able to clarify that for ourselves. No, she did tell me. There's nothing wrong with spending more time together to eventually find that out. The reason for love could have come later on. It took me far too long to realize that. Now I think I can accept it. I know why Shannon won the duel. God must have been watching. You had so much more courage than I did, and God didn't abandon you. I reached the hallway with the guest rooms. There was someone lying on the ground. It was Butler. He was lying just outside the guest room, a chain tied to his neck. He had probably struggled to do something with the chain lock from the outside until he lost consciousness. His fingernails on both hands had been torn off, and they were stained with blood. I could tell at a glance just how hard he had tried until at the final moment when his heart had died. That collar binding him wouldn't disappear unless the chain lock was set. Butler-sama, it's alright. I'm going to save you now. Butler responded faintly. He had probably never imagined that help would come to this eternal locked room. He was so scared that this might be the would be an auditory hallucination brought about his fleeting delusions, that he couldn't be easily aroused. Cannon grabbed Butler from behind and dragged him into the room. The inside of the room was terrible. The windows had been brutally shattered, and the wind and rain had made its way into the room. All kind of tools and furniture lay broken there. However, Butler hadn't smashed them out of rage. The curtain had been removed and torn to shreds, which had been twisted together. He had turned it into a rope, probably while experimenting to see if he could use it for some trick. He had tried using everything in the room, exploring all possible options of escape. The traces could be seen throughout the room and even in the bathroom. The empty bathtub was stained with a bit of blood, and the nippers lay on the bottom. To protect this tale, he had nearly been prepared to accept Berncastle's brutal method of escape and cut himself into pieces while washing himself down the drain. He was even willing to tear apart his own body to protect the game Beato had entrusted with him. He had probably questioned himself over and over in the bathtub, wondering if there was any other way out. By the clock of the game world, not even a single day passed. However, just how many years had that lasted in the locked room of the logic error? When faced with an endless span of time, any way of ending it, no matter how cruel, is tempting. However, he had rejected that until the very end. And even in the last moment, when his heart had died, he had wanted so much to show his iron will to escape from this locked room that he had chosen to fall here in the corridor with the chain still around his neck. Butler-sama, it's canon. Please come to your senses. He wiped Butler's face with a towel wetted in the sink. In response to that cold sensation, Butler's heart slowly started beating again. Canon-kun, is that you? Yes, it's me, Canon. You did well to endure until today. Looks like I slept in just a little too much. Butler realized that the feel of the towel on his neck meant that cursed collar and chain were gone. There's no longer anything binding you here. Come on, please, head back quickly. If I unset that chain lock, that chain will come back. Don't worry. No longer does any chain exist to bind you, Butler-sama. I will remain here. What did you say? By now, Butler knew the terror of this eternal locked room better than anyone else, so his happiness of being able to leave was overwhelmed by his shock at the determination of this room's new prisoner. I will be fine. There's no need to worry. But, Butler-sama, isn't there still something you have to do? I... Go back, quickly. There is someone fighting in your place, and there is someone awaiting your return. Will you do it again? Not come back? His stern words and gaze shot straight through Butler. Are you sure? Yes, that will be fine. This way, I can repay my debt from back then. Debt? Do you owe me something? It isn't a debt I have with you, Butler-sama. It's okay. So go. I don't like keeping debts. Go, quickly. You must not keep her waiting this time. So, quickly. Butler couldn't argue back anymore. He silently bowed his head, unset the chain and opened the door. Canon had remained in the room, so no chain appeared about Butler's neck. He could leave this locked room just by running out. The happy-sounding voices that he had heard at the far end of the corridor had been replaced with an excited chatter. There must have been some sort of strange disturbance going on. As Canon went out into the corridor to set me off, the merciless collar and chain had already captured their new prisoner. He would remain inside his eternal locked room in Butler's place. I feel the same. About what? I don't like keeping debts. I'll definitely
必
repay
ず
you,
返す。それも
and I'll do it
す
soon.
ぐにだ。
期待していいや
I hope I can count on that.
ら。さあ、走って
Go on,
あ
run,
なたの愛する人のと
run
こ
to the
ろへ。
one you love,
そしてどうか
and please
もう二度と
never
迷
get
わない
lost again. Butler would turn around no any longer. He ran with everything he had. He ran out into the corridor, whose warmth he had cursed so many times. That cursed chain no longer bound him. He ran to the end of the corridor and beyond, beyond the light. Canon, still connected to the chain, watched him go, then quietly returned to the guest room. Now he had only to worry about his own job. Stay in this room and fix the logic error.
これで
Now,
チェーンロックを
I
かけて
set the chain lock. As soon as he set it, the chain disappeared from his neck. Now, if he hid in the closet, the only place Erika hadn't checked, broken logic would be fixed. The closet door opened slowly. It was well oiled and opened without a sound. It was cramped inside and dark. This tiny space is the final place for me. As long as I remain hidden in here, the logic will be preserved.
簡単な仕事だな。
That's an easy job.
バラの手入れより簡単
Easier
さ
than caring for the roses. Canon entered the closet and closed the double doors from the inside. As soon as he did, a small gold butterfly appeared, melted into the darkness of the closet, and vanished. It must have been a sign that the logic had been fixed. The witch's game had already stopped, and the clock of the world of the pieces would never tick again. So for all eternity, no one would come to save him from this
別
place.
にいいさ。
That's
これ
okay.
で
This
彼に
way,
返してよ
I've paid back my debt,
ベアトリーチェ。
Beatrice. The power of the gold butterfly brooch taught me about love. In the third game, it gave me some quiet time alone with Jessica. I get the feeling I did many other small things for me. At any rate, I've paid back all of my debts now. I owe nothing to anyone, and no one owes anything to me.
ジェシカが貸してくれた音楽テー
The music tape Jessica lent
プ
me.
返してないや。
I never gave that back, did I?
いいよね。
That's
Jessica.
okay, isn't it, Jessica?
あれ
I
気
like
に入っ
that
てた
one.
な。だからプレゼントにしてもらってもいいかな。
Can I keep it as a present?
ダビングして渡すから。ダメ。
No, but you'll make a copy for me? Slowly, Canon's body began to melt into a cloud of gold butterflies. And after the inside of the cramped, dark closet glittered like a gold planetarium, it faded away like the lights of fireflies and was painted over with a pitch blackness for all eternity. Io avevo dei fazzoletti qua da qualche parte. Dove cazzo sono finiti? Eccoli. Quando servono ce li ho adesso. In the cathedral, the goat attendees were all joustling around either side of the red carpet. On the red carpet, standing across from each other, were Beato and Erika. In their hands were the dueling pistol given to them by Zephyr and Furfur.
フリントロック式
Flintlocks, are they?
また古風
How old-fashioned.
気にするな
Oh, pay it no mind. Demons are very particular about style. Its form was similar to actual old-fashioned Mamma mia. Its form was similar to an actual old-fashioned gun, but this was, of course, a demon's gun. It wasn't a gun that would propel a lead bullet with an explosion caused by gunpowder. Like the pistols used in the duel between Shannon and Cannon, whose bullets had contained a magic that would always kill, these pistols also had bullets that would not made of lead. There's no need to worry. She'll win easily, and you'll have to deal with her insults again, Leah. When this match is over, we would ask to be paid every now and then. When the fight is finished with, I would like to take a trip down to the Caribbean sometime. Enough talk about when this fight is over. That's an ill omen before a duel. Beato, take this seriously. This is no time to be standing around laughing. Why is Richard relaxed and Leah tense? For you two. All together. Vabbè, qua fanno le cheerleader. Beatrice-sama is at disadvantage in this duel. Why? Normally, a witch can put up a fight by piling mystery upon mystery. However, since the game had been suspended, she has nothing on her side except the mystery of Butler-sama's guest room. If Erika can just strike a blood wedge through that one mystery, it'll mean that she solved everything. We can win. I believe in Beatrice-sama and Butler-sama, our two masters. Did you call me? Thanks. For once, it feels as though our chances for winning are 50-50, so I'd like to thank you beforehand. It is simply my job. There is no need to thank me. In the last game, and you protected me after my pathetic defeat. I was touched. That was the first time in my life that anyone had ever protected me. Even my master has never done so. All she gave me was a way to negate the pain of naked truth by laying bare the truths of others and causing them just as much pain. Please forgive my arrogance. I felt that I needed to protect you. As soon as I realized what fragile truth you live by, and how much you have been violently abused by fiction that sounds more plausible, I wanted to protect you. Thank you. Our time together was short, but you were a wonderful partner. And I will remain so. You're right. Once we've defeated her, let's make tons of mysteries on this island together. I'll have you solve them and tease you as we play. How does that sound? It sounds interesting. I am looking forward to your challenge. No, sorry. I take that back. That'd be one of those loser flags, wouldn't it? Now, are you ready, duelists? When the two demons clapped their hands, the duelists instantly returned to their bold, tense smiles. Bullets to be loaded into those magic guns are not lead. A shootout between mystery and fantasy should be fought with bullets and red and blue truth. As long as you possess truth, your bullets are endless. However, being hit by a single one means instant death. Are you both prepared? Naturally. Of course. Lady Lambda Delta, the great and powerful witch of certainty, and member of the glorious Senate. Please come forward. Will you swear to oversee this duel? Of course, I swear it. The crowd split and Lambda Delta walked forward with Brencastle by her side. She looked between the faces of the two duelists. Then she took out an envelope with the seal of the one-winged eagle and lifted it high. Beatrice has sent me her revisions to detail inside a sealed envelope. I have expected it and find its contents to be valid. I declare the logic error averted. The chain lock is still set, and without any contradictions with the red truth made up to this point. The many GOAT attendees knew the details of Butler's locked room. They realized how difficult it was. And though fiery debates had swept across the crowd during the reception, no one had been able to find an answer. And now it was clear that Beatrice had already reached one. Therefore, this duel is legitimate. It will center around one single point: the locked room of Butler's guest room. Shiromiya Butler disappeared from within a locked room sealed by a chain lock. Erika will load her weapon with blue truth regarding this matter. Beatrice will load hers with red truth to counter. Beatrice will load hers with red truth to counter back. The duel will commence until. The duel will continue until one side is victorious. Splendid. Perfect. Okay. Well then, Beato, present your new revised tale and riddle to Erika. The cousin's room was also a locked room. Canon used magic to escape from there without breaking the seals. He then arrived at Butler's locked room and used magic to allow Butler to escape. What a foolish tale. Good. Erika, is there anything you wish to confirm? Repetition requested. The one who rescued Butler was, without a doubt, Canon. Very well. The one who rescued Butler was, without a doubt, Canon. Repetition requested. Butler and Canon are different people. Very well. Butler and Canon are different people. That's enough. Erika, are you done confirming things? That was all I needed. I've already decided how to fight. Okay, let's both sides load their bullets. Erika turned around, pressed her finger against the barrel of the pistol, made her blue truth into a bullet and pushed it in. There was no rule saying that she had to turn away, but she didn't want her expression to be read. Or it might have been because she couldn't stand the tension of looking at Beato's bold smile. Beato had already finished loading her red truth. She waited for Erika to finish, while calmly puffing on her pipe. Then she looked at Butler, who sat on the throne of the Territory Lord, right next to the two witches who sat as witnesses to this duel. Butler's consciousness was still hazy. However, he apparently understood that Beato had come to duel for his own sake, so that he could be saved. It was all he could do to just look at Beato with those sluggish eyes, but a flood of emotion passed between them. There was no need for words. A look was enough for them now. Erika closed her eyes tightly, her fingers still up against the barrel. At that moment, her stunning powers of concentration made all of the distractions of the outside world disappear. Kuda. My concentration is as sharp as ever. Are you ready, me, Fruto Erika? First, let's lay out the situation. Butler disappeared from that locked room. The chain lock is set. Did he disappear by magic? Of course not. There has to be a trick. Canon didn't save him with magic. He just came to Butler's place and set the chain. Everyone knows that much. The problem is what comes next. No, it's actually what comes before. Canon was in the cousin's room in the guest house. That room was completely sealed with duct tape, and it has been proven that the seal was in effect until the time of the logic error. In other words, Canon escaped from a locked room that was absolute, with no excuses or twisted logic possible. Good! This is why she called it a simple yet ultimate locked room. How did he escape from the perfect locked room known as the cousin's room? If I fixated on that question, I'd be no better than your average kid detective. That room is a perfect locked room. There is no way to escape. In other words, trying to think of ways that Canon could have escaped from the cousin's room is simply a waste of time. The real question is how Canon could have been somewhere other than the cousin's room at the time it was sealed. The cousin's room is completely sealed in. If he was in there when it was sealed, then it's already game over. That means he was already outside it at the time it was sealed. I checked everyone's location at the time of sealing the rooms. That check I performed must be suspect. At that time, I had just been inside the next room over and confirmed the presence of 5 people there with my own eyes. Hideyoshi, George, Kumasawa, Shannon, Nanjo. I specifically listed the names of those 5 people when performing the location check for that room and received confirmation that they were in there. Then I checked to see whether everyone else was in the cousin's room and had that confirmation for me as well. I said everyone, so whether he was Canon or Yoshia or even Puru Pico Man, that they all should have been sealed in the cousin's room. It seems perfect. However, though the word everyone seems perfect, something's fishy. The exact definition of that phrase, everyone else, is all people whose names I did not mention directly. In other words, there are exceptions. For example, it has been confirmed that Hideyoshi and George were in the next room over, so humans with the name Hideyoshi or George don't need to be inside the cousin's room. It seems that Canon told Jessica that his real name was Yoshiya, but that was nowhere truth. In other words, what if Canon's real name is the same as one of those in the next room over? They seem to be about the same age, so let's use George. So what if there were 2 Georges in that room? That doesn't violate the red truth, saying that Hideyoshi, George, Kumasawa, Shannon and Nanjo are in the next room over. Let's say that Canon's real name was Tanaka George. Both Ushiromiya George and Tanaka George could exist in that room at the same time. In other words, there were 6 humans with 5 names. It looked to my eyes as though there were only 5 people in the next room over, but a 6th person, Canon, was hiding somewhere. I don't have the detective's authority, so it wouldn't be that difficult for him to fool my eyes and hide. I see, the double name trick. Stupid, so stupid! Alright, I've made my logic. Canon, who was hiding in the next room over, not the cousin's room, left by the window after the seals were placed. Bang! There was an explosion at the barrel of the gun, staining the tip of her finger red with blood. The blue truth gunpowder had exploded. Ah, damn it. I had Lanor sealed that one a short while ago. I told her to ban any Bluetooth arguing about the window of the next room over, so I can't use it. Oh, an accidental discharge. Careful now, guns can be dangerous. Shut up! It's just a little mistake. The windows of the next room over. You blocked them off with some inane trick, I hear. Gap told me. Did she now? And so what if I did? Lanor, remove that foolish seal. That seal is now your shackle. Beato had figured out everything I've been thinking, and she's acting so confident, telling me to go ahead and use that argument. Lady Erika, please remove it. A fool. I'll make her regret this. It seems you are ready, duelists. Please face each other with your pistols. Then fire with sparks of truth. After facing away and readying herself one last time, Erika spun around. Beato had been facing her since the beginning. She had a confident, challenging smile, as if she'd been kept waiting. Then, without any signal, the two slowly raised their guns, pointed the red and blue glints that hid within the barrels at each other. Come, I could do with a little fun. Begin! First is how Canon escaped from the cousin's room. I'll use that as my bullet. Oh, so you'll start from there. Let's have it. Hold nothing back. Here I go. After holding the gun high and pointing it at Beato once more, Erika pulled the trigger with statements of red and blue truth. The cousin's room is guaranteed to be a perfect locked room until the end. So if Canon really had been in that room, it would have been impossible for him to escape. In other words, Canon was not in the cousin's room at the time it was sealed. Canon's name is an alias. His real name is still unknown. If his name happened to be the same as anyone in the next room over, that wouldn't contradict the check on who was in that room. In other words, it is possible for him to be in the next room over, not the cousin's room. The goat attendees chattered and clapped their hands in realization, as if to say, of course, I didn't think that. I love watching this. I love being surrounded by this chatter. After all, I am the detective. It is true that the next room over was sealed, but at the time of the logic error, only the doors were checked to see whether the seals were preserved. Therefore, there is a chance that the window seals were broken. Canon was in the next room over, and he escaped through that window. That is all. Any other theory would be impossible. If this doesn't work, there's no truth left. As soon as she said that is all, both of them fired at the same time. After the blast rang out, it was Erika's gun that fell to the floor. Beato's red bullet and knocked Erika's gun from her hands. Was it arrogance or confidence? If she had just aimed that bullet at Erika's heart, the whole thing would have been over. Beato had missed on purpose. There was a confident smile on her face. It was as though she was offering to play with Erika a little longer. In fact, that was Beato's through and through. Beatrice, the witch who mocks others with unsolvable locked room tricks. At the time the next room over was sealed, Hideyoshi, George, Kumasawa, Shannon and Nanjo were in it. And the number of people in the next room over was 5. No one exists there except for those to whom 5 names refer. Those 5 names refer. Every name has just one person that it belongs to, and no one can go by a name that is not theirs. It was a thoroughly merciless red truth. It was really severe. Now that he had been limited to 5 people, any leeway for Canon hiding there had been completely denied. Since only those to whom those 5 names referred existed within that room, Erika couldn't even make a new theory by suggesting that one person had 2 names, so that the 5 names referred to only 4 people, and allowing for Canon to sneak in even though his name wasn't on the list. Furthermore, the part about how every name has just one person that it belongs to and that no one can go by a name that is not theirs was a fatal blow that cut down countless theories. Come on. Come to think of it, you only know the half-sleeping me from the last game, don't you? What do you think, Erika? How do you like this game of the golden wedge? Faccio anche io. That's insane. You saying that Canon slipped out of the room by magic? More importantly, why did you only knock my gun away? The human side must crush all of the witch's riddles, whereas the witch side need only crush the human theories once. Don't you find that unfair? So I decided that it had to be even. Even? I decided that I'll make my victory condition to be the destruction of all of your theories. I've won the riddle of Canon escape, but there's one more. Let's return to the first battleground, where you gave Butler so much trouble. When Beato snapped her fingers, the guest room of Butler was reconstructed. She meant to fight once more in the room that had threatened Butler with a logic error determined to settle things once and for all. Erika, pick up your gun. We'll have this room be your coffin. I say the same to you. You'll regret ever giving me this chance. Witness, I permit Erika to use X. X? A basis which doesn't need to be explained? So, what are you going to let her do? I relieve Erika of her obligation to explain how Canon escaped from his locked room, and permit her to involve him in blue truths concerning this guest room trick without explanation. Madonna, Chad, cazzo, Chad! If a theory for explaining how Canon saved Butler did not also explain how Canon escaped from his own locked room, it would have no basis. Erika had already lost that basis. Beato was giving her a handicap by saying that she didn't need to explain that part. Naturally. You've already used the red truth to guarantee that Canon saved Butler. It's only natural that I've been given this privilege. Erika faced away again and concentrated even harder. As though twisting the knob on a radio, she tuned all noise and idle thoughts down to 0. Let's go, Frudo Erika. Detective Frudo Erika. As long as Canon reaches this place, rescuing Butler isn't hard. The trick is as follows. Canon used some kind of escape trick X to reach the front of the guest room. While I was busy in the bathroom, Butler left the closet. Butler undid the chain lock, Butler went outside, Canon entered in his place, and Canon set the chain lock. Canon went into the closet, the end. This satisfies the two red truths about the chain being set and Butler's absence. And, in exchange for this escape trick, Canon remains inside the guest room. There's no room for argument on how tightly this room can act as a locked room. That chain is cursed. In this demonic locked room, one person must remain as a sacrifice for it to be acceptable. However, is such a simple theory really enough? The rescuer switched places with him, and the rescuer is hiding in the closet. No other sort of theory is possible, and yet Beato thinks she can win. In that case, does some other trick exist? It is impossible. I swear on the history of the mystery genre that there's absolutely, definitely, categorically no other way. But I've never been able to call myself a detective if I gave in here. Consider, imagine, don't stop thinking. That's how you drive blue wedges into witches. One thing I can think of, yes, a wordplay trick. It can only be some kind of wordplay. That just barely slips through the net of words spoken in red. In that case, I'll crush all possibilities. I'll crush them with repetition requests. The final duel has already begun, even though we haven't pulled our triggers yet. Repetition requested. At the time Butler was rescued, only Canon entered the guest room. I acknowledge it. At the time Butler was rescued, only Canon entered the guest room. I believe that was the whole point. Repetition requested. From the time I entered the room to the time of the logic error, Butler, Canon, and I were the only ones who entered or exited the room. I'll acknowledge it. From the time you entered the room to the time of the logic error, you, Butler, and Canon were the only ones who went in or out of the guest room. Repetition requested. This refers to 3 people. I'll acknowledge it. It refers to 3 people. You, Butler, and Canon. Confirming definition. Can I accept 3 people to be the number of bodies? You're saying that 3 bodies went in or out of the room, right? I had enough of things being mixed up with names and numbers of people. I want this point to be clear. Of course. 3 people, in other words, 3 bodies went in or out. Only you and Canon entered, and only Butler left. It has already been said in red that every name has just one person that it belongs to, and no one can go by a name that is not theirs. Therefore, for each of the names, Erika, Butler, and Canon, only that single person can go by that name. Repetition requested. I am not the rescuer. Of course. You are the detective, are you not? You worry not, I will respect that. Confirming definition. How do you define a rescuer? That is also important. I want to immediately remove the possibility that I rescued him accidentally. A rescuer means someone who resets the chain lock after Butler undid it. It does not matter that they intended to save Butler or not. Since she said after Butler undid the chain lock, it's impossible for this to have occurred before I set foot in the room. After that point in time, I would not undo the chain for all eternity. After all, the game was suspended at that point. Therefore, it's impossible for me to have been the rescuer accidentally. More, I can boil it down even more. The chain can only be set from the inside. It's impossible for a person to escape on their own. Therefore, we know that Butler didn't escape by himself. And I'm not the rescuer. Only Canon can be the rescuer. Plus, Beato has already said that Canon is the rescuer in Red Truth. There's nothing to doubt. There's no room for anyone but Canon to be involved. At least so far. Repetition requested. The definition of going in or out is crossing the boundaries between the guest room and the area outside it. I acknowledge it. Repetitions requested. The phrase guest room includes all of the bedroom, the bathroom, and the closet. I acknowledge it. I have no intention of wriggling out of this by saying that the closet isn't part of the guest room. Confirming definition, the inside of the guest room is divided into 3 sections: the bedroom, the bathroom, and the closet. I also recognize it as such. Furthermore, you have already confirmed with the red truth that of those sections, the bedroom and the bathroom, and had mamma mia. Furthermore, you have already confirmed with the red truth that 2 of those sections, the bedroom and the bathroom, had no one hiding in them. Repetition requested. There is someone in the closet. My decline. Why is that? Because Canon is hiding there? Canon can use magic. It's true that he hid himself in the closet for a time, but he then immediately vanished with his magic. So, there is no one in the closet. I cannot respond. I request for that to be repeated instead. Fool. The witch side has no obligation to explain how they did things with magic. No, it's completely obvious. There is no way she can say that Canon disappeared with magic using the red truth. After all, magic doesn't exist. But is this enough? I've gone through every last minor detail, and yet there's an uncanny lack of dubious points. I can't imagine that there's any room for anything to go any differently from the theory I had since the beginning. Canon must be in the closet. He has to be. There's no way he isn't. I'll say it again. This locked room can only be escaped by switching places with a rescuer. If Canon tried to escape as well, another rescuer would be needed. However, no rescuer exists for Canon. Butler escaped, so it's impossible for it to be him, and I won't undo the chain for all eternity. The 2 people who had gone in and out of the room have been confirmed both by name and number of people. Which means my theory is set in stone. First, here are the details of the situation that are certain. The game ended while I was in the guest room, so I did not undo the chain lock that I have previously set. So it can't be that he escaped behind my back after I left the room. Furthermore, the chain lock was set at the time that I entered the room. No one could have left the room during the few seconds between the time I entered and the time I set the chain lock. I sealed the guest room at the time I examined Butler's corpse. So until I came again and broke the seals, it was absolutely impossible for anyone to go in or out. Therefore, it's certain that Butler was hiding somewhere inside the guest room at the time that I entered it. The only chance Butler had to escape was after I broke the seals. To be even more specific, he had no chance to escape except for the time I was in the bathroom. By the above premises, Butler's trick to escape with the chain still set is as follows. For the aforementioned reasons, the only one who could have set the chain lock, which can only be set from the inside and allowed Butler's escape, is Canon, the only person to enter the room except for me and Butler. After Canon entered the room, he set the chain, hid in the one place he could hide inside the guest room, the closet. Whoa, that was close. They almost got me. They almost tricked me. I thought that I had cornered him in the closet. It's the opposite. They're trying to make me think he's in the closet. What was the order in which I searched the guest room? First the bedroom, we've confirmed with the red that there's nothing there. Then the bathroom, we confirm in red that there was nothing there. That's it, right there. When we examined the bedroom, there was nothing there. However, while I was investigating the bathroom, Canon slipped out of the closet and hid again somewhere in the bedroom. In other words, to guarantee that no one was in the bedroom, I was torn apart after just 1 minute. I spotted it. This is the witch's trap, an attempt to lure me into thinking that Canon is in the closet. The place he's really hiding is the bedroom. I found it. I finally found it. Your trick. That was a close one. If I'd gone and said that there was nowhere to hide except inside the closet, she had said, "Too bad, the closet is empty." Huh? No, wait. It works the same way in reverse. I see. Now I get it. It's an interchangeable logic trick. Damn da beato. So in resolving the logic error, she discovered this strange trick. If I only notice the closet, she'll have Canon hide under the bed. And if I only notice the bed, she'll have Canon hide in the closet. Both are correct, and yet choosing either one means losing. I have to expose both at the same time, or this isn't checkmate. Incredible. I never heard of such an unfair trick. If this was a magician's stage trick, it'd be a cheap one. If it was a mystery, it'd just be cheating. However, in this witch's game, it is a legitimate logic trick. In chess, it'd be called a double check. No, a discovered attack. No, a discovered double checkmate? Even though this sort of logic would be foul trick in the mystery genre, in this world where witches wage war with mystery, what a regal position it is. The beautiful placement of the black pieces cornering my white king. Feels almost like art. A work of such beauty that if I were a god in the age of myth, I might wish to display it in the sky as a constellation. Oh, abbiamo fatto 30.000 click? Scusa? Sì. That beauty even brought tears to my eyes. For the first time I feel honored to have been allowed to participate as a human in a game of truth against a witch. And ironically, it taught me, a person who had always believed that there is only one truth, that truth isn't necessarily always singular. If I just broaden my perspective, I can see a completely different truth. And though each of those truths are true, both are incorrect if they are all you can see. In my life until now, just how many truths have I turned my eyes away from? Because I was blinded by some trivial truth. Minchia, Beatrice ha fatto una Locktrum così potente che sta facendo fare un character development a Eric. This is the truth of the world. Because of your arrogance in thinking that only one truth exists, whether we find one truth, we are blinded. Whenever we find one truth, we are blinded to all others. Thank you, Beatrice-san. I never thought that a witch would be the one to teach me the true nature of this world. Dov'è che ho letto hour, scusami? Hour, scusa. Infatti mi suona un po' strano. Because of our arrogance in thinking that only one truth exists, whether we find one truth, we are blinded Ma ho di nuovo letto weather. Dio madonna. Because of our arrogance in thinking that only one truth exists, whenever we found... Dio e la madonna! Calmi, calmi. Because of our arrogance in thinking that only one truth exists, whenever we find one truth, we are blinded to all others. Thank you, Beatrice-san. I never thought that a witch would be the one to teach me about the true nature of this world. Slowly, with a soft and gentle motion, like a flower opening, with the morning dew dropping down its side, Erika raised her gun. I am the victor. I've seen through your double check. Koi. Then come. Butler's guest room disappearance trick is as follows. While I searched the room, Butler was hiding in the closet. Then, during the disturbance in the bathroom, he unset the chain and escaped from the room. At that time, Canon was waiting for him in the hallway. Canon entered the guest room in his place and set the chain. This is the trick to Butler's disappearance. And afterwards, he hid in the bedroom. This happened after I checked to see that there was no one unexpected in the bedroom, so it is valid. In this way, Canon the rescuer concealed himself in the bedroom. Erika's blue bullet flew in a strange arc, became a wedge of blue truth, and pierced straight down the bed and the floor beneath. Beato didn't pull her trigger, however she did quietly argue back with the red truth. Canon does not exist in the bedroom. The goat attendees gasped. He had appeared as though Erika had been defeated, denied by the red truth. The goats who can't see more than a single truth. Two goats who can't see more than a single truth. It probably looks as though I've lost. Next one is the real one. This is the answer from a human capable of understanding multiple truths. It looks like the tale of fantasy will end with the second twilight. So, why don't I carry out the remaining twilights and open the door to the Golden Land? If you are to disappear, then you should be surrounded by your golden roses. The fires of blue truth flashed at Erika's feet, and she loaded a blue truth bullet once more. That overflowing blue power was now making her entire gun burn with a blue flame. She wasn't aiming for Beato, she was aiming behind Beato, at the closet. Now that the bedroom has been denied, you've nowhere left to run. Die, Canon! The 5 wedges of blue truth she released grazed Beato's cheeks, hair and shoulders, then pin-cushioned the door to the closet, to gouge whatever human was inside to death. The 5 wedges slammed the door in a vertical line, in other words, on the 4th twilight, gouge to the head and kill. On the 5th twilight, gouge to the head, chest and kill. On the 6th twilight, on the 7th twilight, and on the 8th twilight, gouge and kill, kill, kill. After being gouged so many by so many thick and sharp wedges, the human inside wouldn't stand a chance. This is the truth I've exposed. That is all. And she proclaimed that she had finished. The 5 blue wedges piercing the closet disappeared. However, the many large splintered holes left behind showed that he had indeed been pierced. Then, as though this had concluded the ceremony that led to the Golden Land, the space that was the constructed guest room became countless golden flower petals and drifted away. Now the duelist and the crowd of attendees were surrounded by the gold rose garden of the Golden Land. However, the closet behind Beato remained. It stood there all by itself, like a coffin. Then, as though teased open by a desolate wind, the hole-covered closet door slowly opened. Inside was a human figure. The figure was covered up to the head by what had happened to be a greenish-grey robe. Of course, that also had large holes showing that he had been stabbed into. Eventually, it became clear that this was not a robe, but a raincoat. If he had rushed here from the guest house, then there would be nothing strange about him wearing this inside the guest room. Then, with a rustle, the raincoat lost its human shape, crumpled and became a cloud of gold butterflies and disappeared. No way. Inside the coffin of the closet, nothing remained except an empty darkness. Canon does not exist in the guest room. Of course, this includes all parts of the closet, the bedroom and the bathroom. Canon let Butler escape and hid in the closet. And then he used magic to disappear. This is the witch's truth. That is all. The duel is decided. Seize. And the winner is Beatrice! Oh! The attendees let out a cheer. Virgilia's group couldn't help but scream and shout in joy. The 7 sisters jumped about in celebration. And then at the same moment the 2 demons proclaimed Beatrice's victory, the head ring worn by Erika was slowly crumbling to the ground, and the cursed ring on Butler's fingers both burst. At the same time, Butler coughed violently. Butler was starting to regain consciousness. Beato latched onto the coughing Butler in joy. Virgilia, Gap, and Ronove did the same. All of the 7 sisters also crowded about him in delight. That's a nasty trick. You sure something like this counts? With a trick like this one, those humans will start complaining again about how this isn't a mystery. No, it's a splendid trick that just can't be seen by people without love. Butler-san. No, poverina, ce l'ha fatta. Piango. Lady Erika! Someone, help her quickly! The rose of blood in Erika's chest wouldn't stop opening its petals. The third decree conceptual denial syndrome. Use of continuous neutralization only possible by an emergency approval for resurrection. The piece's master must provide approval for resurrection. Lady Bencastel, give your approval for a resurrection. Lady Bencastel? Where did she go? Search request for ceremonial guards. Find Lady Bencastle. Understood, ma'am. All sisters, Chesters. Data link, search formation. Despicable. To think that a master wouldn't watch her piece duel to the end. No, that is despicable in the extreme. After learning that her master was already nowhere to be seen, Erika, who was being held by Dlanor, didn't feel lonely. On the contrary, she was relieved that she wouldn't need to be brutally scolded in the last moments of her life. Gods and demons tell of her noble passing from generations to come. Noble? The villain is supposed to die pathetically so that the star of the show can shine. I'm not anyone's piece anymore. I can finally control my own role. Lady Erika, you mustn't move. Stand back. Back off! When Erika yelled with all of her soul, those who surrounded her flinched back and fell on their butts. I am the witch of truth. Furudo Erika. A witch of truth is a witch who can understand truth. Now, I can finally accept the real truth about myself. The toxin of her own concept being denied raced through her. Her vision was already starting to blur. At the other end of her twisted range of vision were Butler and Beato hugging each other and looking at her. Their expressions are firm. That's okay. Pity and sympathy would only make me look more pathetic. That sort of expression is a loser's greatest salvation. Lady Erika, the duel is already over. It is not over. Until death do them part. We won't let anyone disgrace her final moments. The two demons grabbed Dlanor's shoulder and held her back. Dripping blood, breathing heavily, and with an awkward gait, Erika walked towards Beato and Butler, despite it all. Mi immagino Erika così col sangue, con la faccia incazzata nera che si alza. As the blood dripped from her, it became golden flower petals which drifted away. So as she walked, she looked both divine and beautiful. The duel wouldn't end until one of them died. So even though the outcome was clear, it wasn't over. Beato and Butler told the people bunch around them to step back, and they both walked forward to face the noble loser. Congratulations on your resurrection. Seems you have bad luck with women. You'll never get a normal one to like you. True. And I never fall in love with a normal woman. Beato. No. I asked this of both of you. You wish for one final clash? Very well. We are not so boorish as to refuse your noble request. Thank you. As her consciousness began to waver, Erika raised her gun again. She pointed it at the two of them. Beato also raised her gun to point at Erika. Then Butler placed his hand on hers. Posso come clear. It's already resolved. What more could there be to argue about? Why am I powerless to help you? No. Watch until the end. That's your job as her friend, isn't it? Both sides silently loaded their bullets of truth without saying a word. The color packed into each barrel was red. Though neither side spoke, they did not know what trump card the other would use. With this being the end, I thought that I should properly introduce myself. Was she saying this late into the game? No one could imagine what red truth Erika had loaded. Beato, are you sure? Yes, I don't mind. I understand. At least, let's pull the final trigger together. I know. Butler placed his hand on top of the finger that Beato had around the trigger. Butler-san, I'm glad I met you. We will be together for all eternity.
イチャイチャと見せつけてくれます。イラついてきてたんです。やっぱお涙で退場は私の好みじゃないです。
So you have to flirt right in front of me? This was starting to piss me off anyway. A teary farewell scene is definitely not for me.
やっぱ悪役は最後の最後まで
If you ask me,
こういう面でなきゃ
if you ask me, a villain should wear this face to their very last moments. That's a nice look. Married life with you would probably have been fun enough to make me vomit. Of course. I would have locked you in a world of such constant back-arching pleasure that it would have taken Beato-san completely off your mind.
お前ごとき小娘、バトラーを虜にするにはまだ1000年早いわ。
That is 1,000 years too early for you to capture Butler's heart, little girl. Yes, that's one of your cutest looks by far. This is really the way for both of us to finish things. Come.
これが探偵フルドエリカの最後の捨て台詞。そして自己紹介です。
This is the final parting line for the detective, Frudo Erika. Erika spun around in a magnificent and graceful rondo, scattering blood and...
こんにちは。探偵フルドエリカと申します。招かれざる客人ですが、どうか歓迎を。我こそは来訪者、ロッケン島の18人目の人間。
申し訳ないが、
そなたを迎えても
17人だ。
あなたはきっと信じない夢が無限だった存在を恐れてきっと信じない今も語りかけた in your heart それでもずっと信じない愚か閉ざしきった
Absolute cinema. Absolute cinema.
叩かれ立てる
so che i ragazzi qui avevano delle teorie. Please welcome me. I am Furudo Erika, the detective, the uninvited 18 person. Sorry, but even if you join us, that makes 17 of us. Gente blind, potete sparare le vostre teorie. Allora, Canon era nella Cousins Room, che era completamente chiusa. Shannon invece era nell'altra stanza, sì. Nella Next Room Over, che sappiamo che è uscito, sappiamo che c'è la possibilità di uscire dalla finestra, perché non c'era c'era il tape, ma non è stato confermato che era ancora integro al momento del logic error. Va bene, allora, diciamo, è giusto quello che avete detto, la rifinisco. Shannon, adesso lo possiamo dire, abbiamo avuto tutte quante le conferme di questo mondo, tra l'altro quella del numero totale di persone, che tra l'altro adesso non è più non più di 18, non più di 17, perché Kinzo era morto, e poi non più di 18 di nuovo con l'arrivo di Erika. Adesso hanno detto, anche con Erika siamo in 17, togliendo Erika 16. 16 perché Kinzo è morto e Shannon e Canon abitano lo stesso corpo. Non è che Canon non è mai esistito, Shannon e Canon abitano lo stesso corpo. E quindi ora io rifinisco la vostra teoria. Canon non è mai entrato nella Cousin Room. Erano d'accordo sul fatto che Canon fosse lì. Tipo Jessica, Krause, Goda e Hideyoshi erano d'accordo sul fatto che Canon fosse lì, perché altrimenti non l'avrebbero visto. Ed erano d'accordo sul fatto che lui poi sarebbe morto. Ed è per questo che tutti l'hanno visto. È l'unica spiegazione. Non può essercene altre. Dall'altra parte, Erika, non essendo detective, non ha potuto confermare certe cose. Cioè, non ha potuto... Sono complici, esatto, sono complici. Non ha potuto confermare l'identità delle persone, perché lei non è detective. Non ha potuto confermare che nessuno si stia mentendo, perché non è detective a questo giro. Quindi Shannon, nella stanza dell'Extra Room Over, quando buonanotte, quando Erika è andata da Butler, l'ha seguita, è uscita dalla finestra ed è cambiata è entrata nella sua persona di Canon in quel momento. Attraverso Canon è entrato nella stanza, è entrato, poi ha fatto lo scambio con Butler. Una volta è entrato nell'armadio, cambiato di nuovo persona, diventata Shannon. Volendo, se vogliamo fare la cosa completa, potrebbe essere anche diventata Beatrice. Sappiamo che tutti e tre abitano lo stesso corpo. È stato super esplicito la scorsa live, e sarebbe molto poetico. Sarebbe molto poetico. Ed canon. Sì, sarebbe molto poetico e non c'è nulla che ci va contro. Quindi può darsi. E quindi alla fine, se Erika spara, anche se quella è una cosa del mondo magico, ok? Erika non c'aveva una pistola dietro, ok? Ma se Erika avesse sparato nell'armadio, avrebbe ucciso Beatrice o Shannon, ok? Non avrebbe ucciso Canon. E qui in ogni caso Canon non esisteva dentro l'armadio in quel momento. E quindi la retruffa è valida. Then let's exchange... Mamma mia. Then let the pair exchange their rings. Beato took Butler's hand and put a ringer with the seal of the one-winged eagle on his finger. Are you sure? You are already the territory lord. So, this ring belongs to you, Butler-san. You're certain? This is the world you created. your tale. Yes, I created this tale because I wanted to be with you. That means the purpose of this world has been fulfilled. So, from now on, I want you to write it. The rest of the tale about you and me.
てんじゃ勝手が狂うか領主のめんどくさい仕事を押し付けるだけよ。夫人は威張るだけでいいから実に気楽なことだ。
Or am I dragging you out of your comfort zone? Am I merely pushing I am merely pushing the tiresome task of territory lord onto you. It is much easier being the wife, where you only have to brag. I just need to play around and wait for you to write a new tale. And for each new tale you write, I will play any role you devise of me. A wicked witch or an adversary. A lover or a wife. My tales are pretty intense. You'll be busy from dawn till dusk. Sounds perfect. Beato's hand relinquished the ring of the territory lord. From Butler, she received a silver ring with a crest that could only be worn by the wife of the territory lord. Then they exchanged the rings, and their wedding was complete. Then the pair turned around, faced their packed crowd of guests, and raised their rings high. A thunderous applause rang out for them. In commemoration of the night's events, the great territory lord will now recognize the accomplishments of certain people. Let those called come forward. After Butler's nod, Beato read the name of the first guest to be recognized. Canon, come forward. Okay. A girl goat pushed her way through the crowd, took off her mask and yelled. A cloud of gold butterflies gathered before Beato and Butler, and took the form of Canon, kneeling in front of the two nobles. Canon had already died and vanished. However, all of the dead will revive in the Golden Land. Canon, right here. When my husband was locked up and in danger, you rescued him and displayed your self-sacrifice by choosing to remain in an eternal prison in his place. Your devotion is deserving of commendation. Therefore, we will allow for your resurrection as well as your continued service. My lady, I am deeply thankful. Jessica raced forward and landed sobbing in Canon's chest. Canon patted her head gently and held her. You won't be serving as furniture. You'll be serving as a human. Do you understand what that means? I do. After looking at Jessica sobbing, he looked at Butler again and nodded forcefully. Now, for the next pair. Come forward. George and Shannon were the next to be called. Perhaps they already readied themselves. They walked forward boldly and kneeled.
後ろ宮ジョージここに
Shiromiya George, right here.
シャノン
Shannon,
ここに
right here.
そなたらは
You two withstood Zephyr and Furfur's trial until the very end.
最後まで耐え抜いたその見事な
Your great achievements and affection, determination and nobility are exemplary and deserving of commendation.
よって
Therefore, I reissue you a marriage certificate signed by His Lordship.
ありがたき幸せ
We are deeply thankful.
本証明書は
This certificate overrides objections from one and all. Let the families of the recognized bless this union with all of their hearts. Eccolo che viene fuori.
つうわけだ
You heard her.
しがらみは一切
No more
なしで
squabbling. Let's all just throw rice at
米
them and
粒の雨を
celebrate.
ぶつけて祝福してやってくれよっ
Congrats, you two.
ご両人
When the territory lord clapped his hands in celebration, it spread throughout the entire cathedral. Then a group of goats in the front line of the crowd took their masks off one by one.
いいこと
Now, listen
あ
here.
んまりしょっぱ
I
い
won't
の作
stand
った
for
ら許さないん
making
だから
too
ね
much salty miso soup, understand?
それからジョージが
And
少
George
し
is
太りや
getting
す
a
いか
little
ら
overweight,
砂
so
糖
go
は
easy on the
控えめ
sugar.
ジョージ
George,
男
when a
は
man
結婚した
gets
らな
married,
親より嫁を
he's got
大
to
切にせなあ
treasure
かん
he's got to treasure his wife and even more than his
母
parents.
さんが何を言
No
っても
matter
な
what your mother says, you make sure you protect Shannon-chan.
ああ
Yes,
当
of
然さ
course.
ジョージさんジョージはね
George needs a solid 7 hours of sleep each night. I'll never forgive you if you let him stay up late.
背中を
And don't forget that washing his back and cleaning his ears are also a wife's responsibilities. Is that true?
私と
What
し
have
た
I
ことが
done?
仕事なんよ
That depends. That varies depending on the family.
ルドルフさん妻を大事にして
Rudolph-san, have you been properly caring for your wife?
知ってるじゃね
You should know.
えそこ疑
Why
う
are you so suspicious?
お幸せにね
Find happiness, you two.
結婚はゴールじゃない
Marriage isn't the goal.
むしろスター
It's just the starting line, okay?
おめでとうおめでと
Congratulations! Congratulations! Uryu! Congratulations!
う僕たちも負
We
けていられ
can't
ない
let
です
them
ね
beat us, can we? Yeah, no way we are losing.
くしょ
All of the Ushiromiya family, all of the servants, and all of the spirits and demons in attendance celebrated the honorees with even greater applause.
これにて
Thus, the tale woven by the Golden Witch comes to an end.
最後
It seems proper to conclude the tale with the epitaph.
以下は
The following is the passage on the Golden Land from the Golden Witch's epitaph.
魔女は賢者を
The witch shall praise the wise and bestow 4 treasures.
一つは
One shall be all of the Golden's land gold.
一つは
One resurrects all of the dead people's souls.
一つは
One even revives all of the love they possessed.
一つは
And one
魔女を永
for the
遠に
witch to
眠りに
eternally
つか
rest.
せ
安らかに眠れ我が最愛の魔女ベアトリーチェ
Rest in peace, my beloved witch, Beatrice. Huh.
これでベアトも
So
満足
this
し
means
眠りに
Beato
ついた
now
って
rests fulfilled.
そう解釈するのが
That
妥当であろう
interpretation is probably appropriate.
それで
And
ゲームはお開きにな
now
った
that
か
the
ら
game is over, Onichan will be released, right?
お兄ちゃんはどうなる
What will happen to him?
さて
Well, I wonder.
そのかけらの
The
真
book
実は
of this
そこまでの
fragment
物語
tells no
しか
more of
記
the
しておらん
story.
ようだお兄ちゃんがどうな
So
る
in the end, we don't even find out what
か
happens
分
to
からずじまいじゃ
Onichan.
ない
It's not as though anything will come out of it anyway. In the end, Onichan and the others never came back. They reached the Golden Land and enjoyed themselves there. So says the tale, but in reality, everyone died in that horrific accident.
でも
Still, I've learned a lot of very interesting things.
あの島はやっ
That
ぱり
island really is a crazy place of
幻想の島なのね
illusions.
まったくだ
Indeed,
そして
indeed.
そなたの朗読は
And your reading was truly
とても素晴らしいものだ
wonderful.
ったなんだか
I feel worn
ぶっ
out,
として
like
6
watching a
時間
6-hour
くらいの映画を見せ
movie
られ
all
た
at
ような
once.
疲れたわ疲れたわ
I'm tired.
後宮エンジェ本当にご苦労
You really have worked
我
hard.
が退屈は
My boredom was
そなたの
eased
朗
by
読
your
によって
reading.
癒されたこのフェザリン
The gratitude I feel towards you is one I have not felt since long before I stopped counting the years.
感謝するなら
If you're grateful, why can't I have some kind of commendation too?
うん
What would be good?
少し時
Give
間
me
を
some time.
考える
I will think. Fezarin sat down in a rocking chair and rocked it gently, apparently trying to think of something.
後宮エンジェ
Shiromiya Enje,
本当にご苦労
you really have worked
よ
hard.
くぞ最後
You
ま
have
で朗
done
読に
well
付
to
き合
keep
ってくれ
reading
た
for me until the end.
これにて
With this,
我が巫
your
女の
responsibilities as my Miko are lifted.
そなたは元の
Miko
世界
です。
に戻り
Miko are
そ
lifted.
なたに与え
You
ら
may
れた運
return
命
to
を
your
再開す
original
るがいい
world and be reunited with the fate that you have been given.
やれやれ
Sheesh.
とんだ寄り道だったって感
Feels
じ
like
ね
this one was one hell of a side trip.
すねるな
Oh, do not
褒
pout.
美は今
I'm
考え
thinking of a reward now.
そうだな
Yes, why not?
たまには
Every once in a while.
いや
That said, it has been quite some time.
壺のインクも
I
干からび
imagine
て
the ink from the
炭に
bottle
なっ
has
てい
dried
そうで
up
ある
by now. Even after the tale ended, Enje and Achiyo's debate over it continued for quite some time. It was very serious and fiery. Enje had acknowledged that this tale was no crazy literary work, but a new message bottle which had drifted here once more from Rokkenjima of 12 years previous to tell her of a single possible truth. And it seemed as though she had found her own interpretation of the truth she thought the tale was trying to tell. Of course, there was only one truth, and it did not mean an end to her journey. Still, this interpretation had its place. It wasn't sufficient to fill the 12-year gap in her heart. However, for now, she was content just to enjoy the feeling that the tale had created, along with the bitter coffee Achiyo had made.
ありがとう
Thank you for reading until the end.
そして
And thank you for your thoughts and opinions.
ありきっと一番
I'm
最初
sure
の
the
無限
very
の魔女
first
は
endless
喜んでいる
witch is
と思います
happy.
なんだ素直
Wow.
にそういうこ
So
と
you
も
can
言え
say
るじゃない
stuff like that.
最初からそういう口調で
If you
喋ってれ
just
ば
talked like that from the beginning, I bet I bet you'd have tons more fans.
あなたという素晴らしい読者を
I am
叩いてい
merely
るだけ
praising the wonderful reader that you most certainly are.
物言わぬ
I just wanted to say that rather than write for a silent readership of unthinking swine,
あなた一人の
I
ために
would
原稿を
find
記
it
す
much
方
more
が
productive.
私に与えられた
I would find
寿
it
命と
a
いう
much
時間
more
を
productive use of my
よほど有意
limited
義に
time on
費
this
やせる
earth
と言い
to
たい
write a manuscript for you alone.
だから
That's
そう
the
いう
kind
こ
of
とを
thing
言わ
you
なきゃ
don't have to say.
ま
Well,
一応
I'll
褒
take
め
it
ら
as
れ
a
たと思ってお
compliment.
くわさて
Okay. I get the feeling that I've spent a really, really long time here. It feels as though I've spent a major fraction of my life here. It should feel uncomfortable sitting here on a sofa in someone else's house, but for some reason it feels as familiar as my own home. However, the clocks show that that it's only been about 2 or 3 hours since I met her. My sense of time feels really strange.
お連れの方はお世
Your
話ですね
friend seems to be taking his time.
長電話かしら
It must be a long phone call.
男のくせに気
It's
持ち悪
creepy
い
for a
やつ
guy to talk that long on the phone. He said he was going to make a scheduled report to Okonogi-san, didn't he? Even though he had told that he could use the phone here, he declined and went to look for a public phone somewhere. Something about how he didn't want to risk being bugged. It was too ridiculous a point to argue, so I just left to him. I just left him to it. Is the public phone far? If you go out on the street, there's a store on the corner and a short way down. Then I'll be on my way. Here, consider this payment for the snacks or whatever. If I let you keep that money, will you come again, read my next manuscript, and tell me of your opinions? You're willing to pay rolls of money to get an uncouth girl like me to read your manuscript? On the contrary, you were a good reader and a good thinker. It is in search of a person like you that we weave these tales and set them loose into the world. You praise me too much. I just take books a little too seriously. As thanks for the considerable time you have given to me, I will someday write your tale. Am I going to appear in another of your forgeries? I hope you kill me in a slightly better way this time. Do you like miracles? You mean story contrivances? I used to hate them, but recently I've become a big fan. I've been spoiled though, so you'll have to one-up jumping off a skyscraper and ending up unharmed, because I don't even count that as a miracle anymore. And one day perhaps I will write you a tale that you'll consider a miracle. I'm really sorry for barging in all of a sudden and saying all kinds of mean things. Not at all. It was a worthwhile conversation. Perhaps I will have my head editor arrange for another meeting between the two of us. If the opportunity presents itself. See you again. Have a nice day. Yes. It may happen again sometime. I pray that you find your truth. Thank you. If you ever do reach your truth, please try making your truth a tale as well someday. You want me to become one of you witches? I'm not sure about that. I'm bad at writing. A good reader isn't necessarily a good writer, you know? Oh, quite true. I myself can never read anything written by anyone else. Sheesh. Then I'm off. After this, I will probably never see you again. But I pray I will be fortunate enough to meet another you, somewhere, someday. Can I ask one last question? Go ahead. That feathering witch who appeared within the tale, that's you, right? It may be presumptuous to say, but that was my intention. This might be a strange question, but are you feathering? Or is feathering you? Why? I haven't the foggiest idea of what you mean. The mysterious woman remained mysterious to the end. And so I made it through a day I had no memory of, and the following day I took boat to Nijima. I'll probably never see her again. However, that just means that I won't see her. The other me's might, somewhere down the road. Just as I was able to reach several truths, I pray that they too can reach their destinations. So long, Featherin. If you ever write a better story, please call me again. If I'm free, I might drop by. No problem. It is the cushiest escort job I've ever had. It's almost like... I'd almost like to invite you along, sir. I'll take a pass on that. You know how old I am. I'm done running around all over the place. The person on the other end of the line was Okonogi. Okonogi was also one who tended to move from place to place, so it hadn't been easy to catch him even on the phone. Our trip has been cool, so right now there's no need to run around. Sumadera Kazumi is reaching like a mad woman for her. According to my source, she's fixated herself a ride to Rokkenjima already. You'll bump into her there. So, just as planned. It's likely to be 5 or 6 people at most, and they'll probably be armed with nothing more than handguns. They're no match for you. Feel free to run wild, but make sure you kill them. Make sure you kill them. Have you received that favorite toy of yours? Of course. I'm surprised to manage to get this into the country. Behind Amakusa was the rental car they had borrowed under a false name, inside of which was now a black golf bag. The Sumadera head family has already given the okay, but make sure you get out of Japan as soon as you're done. Don't forget to buy your cup ramen by the box in Narita before your flight out. I'll take care this time. It's an easy job. There's also the other matter. You understand me, right? Other matter? Well, now you've lost me. Playing dumb, huh? Well, whatever. At the end of the day, you're a man who's never betrayed my expectations. If you're clever about it, you won't even have to get your hands dirty. There should be plenty of ways to handle it. I'm not sure what you're talking about. I know Enja-chan's an unfortunate kid. Still, all she has to do was play the part of the secluded, wealthy young lady. Since Eva-san's death, we've all been in agreement on uniting together going forward. This little portable shrine of ours is important, but she's also a liability. We are talking about world peace here, right? Well, let's see how it goes. I hope those Sumadera black suits know how to shoot a gun right. What is it, sir? Don't tell me that, after a few days on the run, you and Enja-chan have already hooked up. Me and that bratty little girl, please. Hey, it's not like I care. It means that you finally managed to move on, enough that you can take passes at women at least. After the world is women, you know. You'll never last if just one of two gives you the jitters. Speak of the devil. She is here. Guess that's all for today. I'll contact you after I reach our lodgings in Nijima. Later. Enja walked down the street towards me. Why she have to do that when I told her to wait for me to come back? If only she wasn't like this, she might have lived a long life. That was a pretty long call. I was so tired of waiting that I left. Sorry about that. How was it for you, Missy? Did you learn anything interesting? It was interesting. That's all I got out of it. Sounds cool. After Amakusa opened the passenger's side door, Enja got into the car. Amakusa quickly went around to the driver's seat. Then let's head to the harbor. According to the old man, the Sumadera family has set up a net.
それに引っかかるようなら
If we do not get caught, then that's the measure of my luck.
引っかからないなら
If we don't, then Rokkenjima is waiting for me.
任せましょう
Let's leave it all to luck. Luck, is it?
どうするか決めかねている
Why? When you can't decide what to do, or when it doesn't matter either
コイン
way,
トスのように
it's not so bad
運命
to
に身を
it's not
任すの
so
は
bad to entrust
悪い
your
ことじゃない
fate
わ
to a coin toss.
なら
Then I leave it
そい
to
つに
luck
任せてみますかね。嫌いじゃねえや。
I'm no
そういう
stranger to that sort of thing myself.
ボディーガードが運任せ
My
と言い出した
bodyguards had just said that he'll leave everything to luck.
最悪
That sucks.
旦那との電話のせいで
Since I have to leave for that, since I had to leave for that phone call, I totally missed the
あ
clincher.
の後どう
What happened after I left? Let's hear it.
嫌よ
No, I'm not telling.
そりゃ
Oh,
残念。
that's a shame. The car dashed through the hilly town. It would not return to Achisio's house for all eternity. However, ENG didn't get sentimental about it. For now, she just wanted to silently consider the new message bottle that the current endless witch, Achiyo Toya, had given her. In the rearview mirror, the town where a witch lived faded off into the distance. However, that scene wasn't reflected in ENG's eyes. Eh sì, beh, come abbiamo avuto anche la spiegazione di che cosa effettivamente è successo a Rokkenjima. Amakusa stava, nonostante ENG aveva detto a Amakusa stai qui, io vado da sola, sapeva che tutto quanto questo sarebbe successo, cioè che Sumader l'avrebbe imboscato, come si dice, ambush, le avrebbe fatto sto trappolozzo su Rokkenjima. E lui si è appostato con un cecchino e gli ha sparato tutti quanti. Quindi lei che faceva tutta la storia delle stakes, ovviamente è molto poetica, è molto fitting del personaggio, è molto giusta per la storia, ma essenzialmente quello che è successo è che ENG era lì. Nel mio headcanon lei poteva anche fare sta cosa, anche se, oddio, non sapeva di lui col cecchino, quindi magari non è successo. Però erano lì, tutti quanti con le pistole che la puntano e poi pam 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 pam, uno giù, uno dietro l'altro. E poi non sappiamo però com'è finita, anche lui dice, perché Okonogi sembra dire fai fuori anche ENG. E invece Amakusa rimane lì un po', sì vabbè, alla fine la sua decisione è, vediamo come, al momento let's leave it up to luck. Vediamo come finisce un po'. E vediamo come va. E dopo ci pensiamo. Lambda,
どこ
where are you? Just having to say that felt like admitting defeat, and I didn't like it. Why is it that she's always so obnoxiously and clinging when I don't need her, and then won't answer when I call her name? Where am I? Annoyed by the completely predictable ending, I had left the cathedral. I had planned on finding some terrace with a cool night breeze, where I could kill time until the end of that farcical reception.
確かに
It's true that I tried to find somewhere desolate that I didn't
人気のない方へばかり
have, so that I didn't have to look at
さ
people.
すがに
But this is a
これ
bit
はいないにも
ridiculous.
程があるわ
I, the great Bernkastel, am lost? A miracle like that certainly couldn't happen. Yes, miracles don't exist in this world. To create a miracle, you need an amount of time that can never be reached. A period that is no different from infinity. So when something that appears to be a miracle happens in a short span of time, then it is not a miracle, but due to someone's design. In other words, the reason I'm walking down this bizarre corridor is because someone's design has forced me here. Who did this? Who pulled this elaborate prank on me? You must be quite the shy one, calling me out to a desolate place like this. Then, from the end of the dark corridor, I heard a sound. Patter, 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 patter. It sounded as though some small animal, like a dog or a cat, was walking at a quick pace. No miracle could cause a dog or a cat to be in a place like this. Such a miracle would not be allowed. Since it isn't a miracle, that means I am being guided in that direction. Alright then. This might be some new idea to keep me entertained. If this is some new joke of Lambda's, I'll cover her whole body with honey using my tongue as a reward. Lambda Delta and Ben Castle not being lesbians for 5 seconds challenge impossible. And then I'll stick parasol chocolates into her eyes and tell her to never do it again. Vabbè, con un po' di gore alla fine perché è il loro tipo di Yuri. In the direction that the noise had come from, it was not only dim but definitely shrouded in complete darkness. Non c'era definitely, l'ho messo io. However, I could sense something in that darkness. There were 2 emerald green glints, probably cat eyes. The eyes of a black cat that blended well into the darkness. Are you the one who called me here? Or are you just a messenger? When I looked at my feet, I saw red cat footprints leading towards those cat's eyes. It was unsettling, as though he had run through a puddle of blood on its way there. After my eyes adjusted to the darkness, even with my lack of light, I was vaguely able to make out the red footprints ahead of me. They weren't actually glowing or anything, but they were served perfectly well as a signpost leading me onwards. Mamma mia, ho la bocca secca. Patter, 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 patter. As though it was telling me to follow, the cat turned around and dashed off into the darkness. What is it? Something feels very strange. It's a feeling I haven't felt since I began calling myself the cruelest witches in the world. Witch, I can't quite remember what this feeling is. Still, for one as tired of boredom as me, it's surely more fun this way. I followed the bloody footprints of the cat, which could sometimes stop and look back. Mamma mia, ma sono veramente messo male adesso, scusatemi. I followed the bloody footprints of the cat, which would sometimes stop and look back at me, and walked on and on through the dark corridor. It headed forward, turned corners, and descended what appeared to be stairs from time to time. And then, though I couldn't really tell because of the darkness, it slipped through the crack of the door. Of a door. Here. I pushed the door open slowly, but it was dark on the inside, just like the corridor. However, the air and slight change in the echoes made by the footsteps told me that this was a room and not a corridor. The sound of the cat's footsteps were gone. However, the bloody footprints remained. On the other side of some sort of wooden screen, under what looked like a small spotlight, that same black cat was noisily gobbling down a bowl of pet food. food. I see. So this is its reward for bringing me here.
猫
Cat,
お食事中悪い
sorry
け
to
れど
bother you during your meal,
そろそろあんた
but
の主
I'd
人
like
を
to
呼んでちょうだい
I'd like you to summon your
それ
master.
ともまさか
That is,
あんたが
unless
私を
actually
呼ん
you
だ
are the
本
one who
人ってわけじゃ
summoned
ない
me.
わよね
Talking to it didn't cause it to turn around. Well, I guess it is an animal eating its food. If I kicked it away, it would probably run off to its owner. When I did kick the cat, it sailed away like a stuffed animal, hit the wall and fell to the ground. Then it vanished as though it had melted into the darkness. What's with this cat? Is it just an illusion? When I looked at its food bowl, it was piled up with what appeared to be blood-drenched raw meat. It was as though someone had torn apart living flesh on the spot and piled it into theirs.
なんなの
Come on, what's with the creepy reception?
蹴るとはひどいこと
That
を
was a mean thing to do, kicking it. That the instant I heard that voice, the hairs on the back of my neck stood on end. Then the surrounding area finally brightened. However, Bernkastel had already guessed where this was before it grew bright. That was you,
その猫は
that cat.
肉を食らい
My dear flesh-eating cat, who has learned to choose its own path.
久しぶりである
It has been long since we last met.
あんたが教えなきゃ
It's a
気づかず
path
に
I'd
済んだ
never
道
have.
よ
It's a path I'd never have to have noticed if you hadn't told me.
肉の味を教え
You
た
are
化け
the
物
master who taught me the taste of flesh.
生き返ったのね
So, you've come back to life.
フェザリーヌ・アウアウロール
Fezarin au aurora.
アウグストス・アウローラであると
It is Augustus
そ
Aurora.
なたには何度
You
教え
never
ても
learn,
覚
no
え
matter how often I tell you that.
よい
Very
そ
well.
れもまた
Even
懐
that
かしい
brings back fond memories.
噂は聞き及んでいる
I have heard of the
奇
rumors.
跡の魔女
It seemed that you have taken the name Bernkastel, Witch of Miracles, and I have been traveling around playing some far from praiseworthy fragment games.
あんたの真似をしてる
I'm
だけ
just imitating you,
到底
though I could hardly match up to your level.
もし私の
If the
噂がよ
rumors
からぬ
you've
もの
heard
なら
about me are bad, they applied 100-fold to you. That applies 100-fold to you. Bernkastel sat unreservedly in an antique chair, as though she was already familiar with the place.
何を怯えているか
What are you afraid of?
私はこれま
I
で
am merely celebrating my reunion with my longest-serving Miko so far.
使いの猫が
Did you really find the messenger cat so displeasing? By all appearances, Bernkastel's manner seemed relaxed. However, Fezarin admonished her, telling her not to be afraid. And judging by the expression that rose to Bern's face, Fezarin had been right on the mark.
私に対する当てつ
Did
け
you
に
really have to make
程がある
such
わ
blunt insinuations against
血
me?
の足跡を
A
残
cat
しな
leaving
がら
behind bloody footprints and stuffing its face with blood-stained meat.
怯えるな
Have no
よく
fear.
見よ
Look
血まみれ
closely.
の肉を頬張
Where
る
do you
猫
see a
な
cat
どどこ
stuffing
に
its face with blood-stained meat?
そなたを迎えに行
I
った
just
方
gave
に
it a plate of
ビスケ
biscuits
ット
as
の
a
皿を
reward
与えた
for
だけでは
going to
ないか
get you. Despite there being no wind, the bowl at the feet of her feet seemed to blow away as though it was made of soot. In its place, a lovely and perfectly normal cat dish, with a pile of small biscuits on top of it. Bernkastel didn't even hide her displeased grimace. Featherin suggested and muttered, "You haven't changed, child of man," as she rocked her rocking chair.
I
see, you are as unpleasant as ever. But nowadays I find you pleasing. Imitating you really has been far from boring. Scold him as you please. It is the parting gift I gave you when we last met. You liked abusive Mikos because they kept you entertained, right? Ridiculous. If talking will only please you, I'll shut up. So, what do you want with me? It seems Beatrice's game has ended with Butler's victory. I observed it. It was quite entertaining. I'm sure you enjoyed seeing me fail miserably. Nonsense, it was a splendid performance. I'm sure Beato is very grateful to you. And if you want me to read the fragments of Beato's game aloud for you, I refuse. I'm not your Miko anymore. I have observed all of Beato's games. I also watched Lambda Delta's game and Butler's game with great interest. I believe I have fashioned my own particular answers to all the mysteries. The culprit, the motive, the individual tricks. I am not yet clear about the very last part of the epitaph's riddle, but I have enough of a theory that if I actually went on Rokkenjima and investigated, I should be able to resolve that part as well. And, of course, since there is no single truth, my theory is probably one of the many possibilities. However, it is one of those possibilities, so that problem is a trivial one. What are you up to? Do you want me to debate Beato's game with me? Wrong. What I want is to look at the answers, child of man. Those words of Featherin make Berncastel straighten up. Her old master did not fail to notice that small reaction. So far, you have spiced up this tale as an actor. In doing that, you have probably come to know many truths. However, even you are aware of the truth behind several mysteries that Beato had skillfully kept hidden, correct? I see. You want me to use me to chew apart and string out the guts of something again. After watching a play, the experience of reading the pamphlet and learning what goes on behind the scenes is similar to, as you would say, enjoying some black tea after a meal. It is a ceremony, but essential nonetheless. You play with them and love them while they're alive, then eat their flesh when they die. So cats are doubly useful to you. Just die, monster. I want to look at the answers. I'm sure you want to know them. Think of it as a burial of Beato's corpse, where you are in charge of the service. What do you say about that, child of man? Now you're starting to speak my language. When Featherin snapped her fingers, a thin spotlight shone on the table cluttered with books. There lay a folded version of the game board of Beato's game. The witch of theater-going spun her finger in a circle, and at the end the game board opened up by itself, revealing the rows of black and white pieces that were packed away inside it. It is a complete set, containing the game board and all of the pieces. The records of all of the previous games are all in there as well. With a rustling sound, the books flipped through all their pages and on their own accord and shut themselves, and flew to the side of the game board where they waited. Inside them, all of the movements of the pieces during previous games were recorded. I see. So you were short a player and a commentator. We are also short on black tea, and I suppose dried plums. Of course, I will find some. Okay, if you add some mustard rice cakes, then we have a deal. The negotiations are concluded. I have one condition. And what is that? I'm going to be the reader, right? I have no love, so I might interpret all things of all kinds of things in strange ways. However, if the reader is free to read things in a manner with an intonation of her choosing, I'm going to be the reader, right? I have no love, so I might interpret all kinds of things in strange ways. However, the reader is free to read things in a manner and with an intonation of her choosing. I only want to check the answers. I have no interest in the tale itself. The particular kind of tale you choose to create is of no interest to me whatsoever. Ah, yes. Now I see what you're after. Will you accept that condition? Very well. I want to know the answers. You want an outlet for your grievances. The negotiations are concluded. When Feathering snapped her fingers once more, a large chair appeared as though beckoning Bernkastel to sit there. The chair, its design horribly mismatched with the furnishings of this room, was a throne. Wait, I've seen this before. This is... I acknowledge it. You may sit. You are the game master. Io ho paura. Io ho paura di una storia scritta da Bernkastel. Io ho paura di una storia scritta da Bernkastel. Are you sure? Are you really sure? You may create whatever sort of tale you like to ease your inner hatred. I am not interested. However, I have one condition as well. Provide all of the answers I seek. No hiding, concealment, or tricks. Leave it to me. Tearing apart the chest and ripping out the guts is my specialty. After all, you trained me. I shall make you some black tea with my own hands, not magic. Let the master treat her Miko to some tea. Beato once told me that the tea is best drunk in the company of a witch. It seems we differ in that regard. At some point, a dish piled with biscuits had reverted to a mountain of torn apart meat and splattered of red. Fuck! Tea is best enjoyed with your fellow monsters. Oh, in that case, let's get the pieces ready. If we keep counting, this game will be number 7, right? Correct. An auspicious number. It won't be for Beato. Ben casted slowly picked up a black piece. It was the piece that represented Beatrice. It was sometimes a king, sometimes a queen, it could even be a knight. However, this was only when he got promoted. Until then it was a trash piece. Upon first came piece positioning. Even this early, the witch's game, Beato took Beato's piece and raised it high. First move, placement. Beatrice on D8. When the seagulls cried, no one were left alive. Tra l'altro abbiamo questo sfondo adesso. Tips. Episode 5. Spirit mirrors. Spirit mirrors kept in the shrine built on a rock in the waters near Rokkenjima to suppress the evil spirits of Akujikijima. It is believed to possess a great power which holds these evil spirits at bay. This mirror is revered by the fishermen around the Nijima area, and several times each year a small ceremony is conducted jointly by the Ushiramiya family and the Nijima Fisher Cooperative. In the past, kings ordered that it be clean on the change of the season. However, it is unknown whether or not he did this out of respect for the occult or of the Eastern world. Set of dueling pistols, a set of demonic dueling pistols prepared by Zepar and Furfur. The number of shots loaded depends on the format of the duel. In most cases, each gun holds just a single round. The emotions of the duelist are loaded into them, and if the bullet grazes any part of the body, the concept of the target is denied without exception. In the past, duels were performed in the classic styles with swords, but this took a great deal of time and before an outcome was reached, which displeases certain impatient theater-going witches. For this reason, a dueling weapon that would always kill with a single shot was asked for and created. Of course, these weapons are not particularly popular among theater-going witches who are fans of drama. Miko. Miko is often translated as Shrine Maiden. Traditionally dressed in white and red, Miko is an assistant in Shinto shrines. In addition to helping out with the day-to-day runnings of the shrine, including cleaning the premises and selling charms and fortunes, Miko also performs ceremonial dances to assist priests in Shinto rituals and performances. Warawa. It is the pronoun that Beatrice used throughout episodes 1 through 4 to refer to herself. Historically, warawa was a word used to refer to handmaids, chamber maidens, and children, including errand boys and girls. The pronoun warawa, which derived from these meanings, was therefore a humble one used mostly by women. However, in the context of modern fiction, the use of warawa is stereotypically associated with noble women from olden times, and the anachronism of this choice of pronoun can have the secondary effect of imparting an imperious air on a character's speech. In this sense, it is a perfect fit for Beatrice and an important part of her role language that makes up her character. Sì, è il caso, fantastico, ok. Bene, la possiamo vedere allora. E3, E2, E1. Però con la musica magari. E anche in qualità più alta. Chi sono questi?